The president responding this morning saying, quote, James Comey is a proven leaker and a liar. Virtually everyone in D.C. thought he should be fired for the terrible job he did until he was, in fact, fired. He leaked classified information for which he should be prosecuted. He lied to Congress under oath. He is a weak and untruthful slimeball who was, as time has proven, a terrible director of the FBI. And just guess how much money Comey is making off his memoir. Now, the publisher is printing 850,000 copies of his book. So to put that number in perspective, the initial print run of Michael Wolff's widely discounted book, Fire and Fury, that was just 150,000 copies. Financial terms not disclosed for James Comey's book, but several publishers did bid for it. 3 officials with knowledge of the negotiations said the auction topped $2 million. Even tickets for Comey's book tour alone have been going for as much as a staggering $850 apiece on events like StubHub for the town hall gathering in New York City. Joining me now is former British Prime Minister David Cameron, strategy director, and Fox News Revolution host Steve Hilton. Steve, what do you think of James Comey admitting that he hid the fact that Democrats had funded the Russian dossier on Trump?
I just think this whole saga now with Comey has just got so tawdry and tabloid and gossipy. Of all the things that we're hearing, there's not a lot of substance to this book. Now, you can say that it's got very political with Comey hitting the president hitting back, supporters on either side getting fired up, and also these salacious details coming out. But I think the real point, and the one that we're going to be looking at on our show this Sunday night, an hour before the Comey interview, is the substantive charges that could be laid at Comey's door that he actually broke federal law on multiple occasions, with the Clinton investigation, the way he handled that, the way he closed that, with the leaks that came out that can be put at his door, perhaps lying to Congress, the way he handled the dossier. There's real serious potential there for crimes to have been committed by Comey, and that's what we're going to be looking at in our show, which is called The Trial of James Comey, because I think that's what people need to focus on, the serious issues about how he behaved as FBI director.
You know, Steve, in his book, he effectively, it's called in journalism, Burying the League. James Comey said in his book, quote, I have one perspective on the behavior I saw when it came to the president, which, while disturbing and violating basic norms of ethical leadership, may fall short of being illegal. So he admits Trump didn't do anything illegal?
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole thing. It feels like all along the way Comey behaved, as well as others in the justice system and in the establishment more widely, is just horror at the fact that this guy, this outsider, was elected, and ever since they've been doing their best to undermine him. And the way that they reacted to him at the time is actually coming out in the stories that Comey's telling about how he behaved and how he responded. It's dripping with contempt for the president and for the way he, not just what he stands for politically, but just who he is as a person, the way he behaves, the way he looks, probably even what he eats. These are all the details that are in the book that actually give away the contempt of the establishment for Donald Trump.
You know, White House senior advisor Kellyanne Conway responding to Fox News, calling James Comey a, quote, disgruntled ex-FBI worker. Let's watch.
When the president fired Jim Comey, he gave an interview to a different network where he did note that the man is a showboat and a grandstander. I'll add sanctimonious. I think people are seeing that. If you don't like the job you have, I say to the same people who work here and have in the past, if you don't like the job you have, if you think that you're working in a place that's doesn't comport with the workplace where you want to be, leave. He didn't do that. He got fired. He got fired, and he never objected to any of this.
You know, Steve, looking back at FBI directors in the past, have you seen FBI directors, any of them, write a book like this? And we know that Donald Trump is an unusual president, but do FBI directors write books like this?
No, it's really shocking. I mean, that's a whole part of this that, you know, there's so many other details to focus on, but that's the big question. Like, why the hell is he even doing this? And in particular, commenting on ongoing investigations, things that haven't yet been resolved, where he has a material part to play. It's just completely outrageous, and it's part of this same phenomenon of the establishment, the elites, the insiders in D.C. just losing their minds at the reality that the people wanted to put an outsider in the White House in 2016. They just haven't been able to deal with that in any kind of reasonable way.